Hi everyone, I hope you guys are having an amazing week. So today I want to talk about how we close and open and control our chakras. In my last video I put a pretty in-depth discussion as to why we close them. And we touched on a lot of topics, but during that video I realized that there's really just so much about this topic that needs to be understood. It's really not such a simple process. And the reason is because it really is, as I mentioned, the center of co-creation. The chakras are so deeply enmeshed into our creative manifestation ability, the engine of manifestation, that we really need to understand that everything that we experience comes and is projected from these chakras. And therefore, when we begin to work with them, we will definitely feel a very profound shift. And the idea is that we begin to reacquaint this human organism with the state of neutrality, total awareness of all aspects of ourselves. Most of us live our lives in a type of hypnosis where we're very much entertained and held on to all of the external experiences that are occurring outside of us, really following and quite addicted to stimulation of the emotions, of the senses, of our thoughts, of our mind, the analytical mind. And so these processes are pretty addictive because they create adrenaline rushes in the body, and actually many different chemical rushes in the body that really keep these organs moving through, the emotional systems that are both biological and etheric in the body. And they make us feel, basically. They make us feel, they make us experience, and they give a meaning and a purpose. And it also allows the ego to have a sort of identity. It identifies itself as a self with the stories that it's had, with all the experiences that it's had, with the ideas, the emotions that it's currently running through, the programs of the way that it perceives the world around, and the way that it processes those experiences as well. So when you want to take away or lessen those experiences and those stimulations, the ego becomes quite threatened. It becomes threatened because now there's a possibility that it might not have a certain specific storyline that it was holding on to, and the familiar expressions that it's used to. For example, someone says something to us and it causes us pain. So believe it or not, some of us are so used to that that's all we know, and it's now become the comfort zone. So it's kind of like a drug that when we are used to having lots of sugar, when you take sugar away, you really miss it. You really want it because you're familiar with that. Sometimes it's so linked to your emotional status as well, because it has now become an identity of comfort for you. So unfortunately, we create our identity around a lot of the chemical responses that our body does, and we create our identity around the stories that we've created for ourselves. And it's very much a physical thing as much as it is an etheric expression. And really, this expression is what creates your resonance again to what you're going to be experiencing next, to the things that you attract into your life. Your magnetism is based on everything, all the programs that are being run in the back end. So when you begin to tweak with those things, the body kind of goes through a moment of discovery where it begins to understand, analyze, and become aware of those processes. And because it's unknown, and oftentimes we don't know how to get to the other side of that, it becomes a little uncomfortable. And it really raises our fear because we come into a place of unknown. Fear is unknown. A lot of times when we begin to sit in stillness, meditation is difficult because all of these things become aware now, because in that stillness, now that you're still, you're now observing every single movement that the mind, the body, the emotional body tends to have. You now are becoming aware of it, and that's why meditation is difficult for people. It's difficult to sit and become aware of those emotions that are running through us, why they're running through us, which is usually a lot deeper of a black hole. that is quite uncomfortable sometimes. So the thing is to be very nurturing with yourself through this process, very aware, very loving during this process, because our physical bodies are constantly moving through these sensations throughout the day when we're unaware. And to stop it completely, the body doesn't know what to do. Some of us have had so much trauma in our lives that we are not familiar with feelings of peace. We're not familiar with feelings of calm. Some of us have never felt love before. We go through a grieving moment of recognizing first. That recognition is usually the most painful, to understand that we really don't know what it means to be peaceful or calm or loving. And this definition of what that is going to be a constant evolutionary process throughout your spiritual work. It's something that you're going to rediscover through multiple possible experiences and different perspectives of the same. So try not to stick to any one thing through this process. And that's really what the 0 point is about. The point of zero non-judgment is just that. We don't judge anything. Don't find the need to have to apply meaning to the things that you're experiencing. Just be in a constant state of observation. And that's really where we want to be, because from that space of observation, we have the ability of looking at not having to reattach to another thought form, because none of those thought forms, none of them are the ultimate truth. They are all one possibility of millions, infinite possibilities. That's what we are. We are infinite possibilities. Therefore, throughout this spiritual awakening, through this spiritual work, it's really important to continue to be in this fluid state of rediscovery, of experience from a state of from an observer, rather than a constant experiencer. And that's really kind of the way that we begin to raise the vibrational frequency. Because when the body is in a constant state of experiencing, it is addicted to the sensations and to all of the processes that are going through. And again, that's very much a chemical, physical, and energetic thing that we become very acquainted with. And sometimes it will take a minute to break that habit, because our muscles, our cells are very familiar to that kind of interaction with our environment. When you begin to master this state of observation, you're going to realize and discover a completely different person, a person that doesn't respond to things the way they used to, that doesn't get triggered by things the way they used to, that has the ability to come into a state of complete compassion, not just of others, but of yourself, because you're silent and you're observing. And instead of immediately judging things or putting things into category, you now have an opportunity to look at all possibilities. And this is actually one of the most powerful, most beautiful expressions of mankind, is the ability to look at things from so many different perspectives. And then that wisdom comes in, that total body wisdom, which is informed by our intuitive self, that now is coming from a place of clarity. Okay, the clarity comes from the ability to be able to have that neutrality, that neutral observation of all possibilities. And so it has the ability of now choosing how to respond in the most creative expression. And what that means is it is the highest expression possible for all that are involved, not just your ego, not just their expectation of your reaction, the other expectation, because you're going to be dealing a lot with that, but what truly is the best for that experience. And the only time we can truly begin to even consider choosing that highest expression is by coming in the state of non-judgment, in a state of complete observation and awareness. And that stillness is what allows you to come into that possibility. So as we are experiencing all of these processes, and we're learning about how to navigate as a true human. This is what I call the true human. The true human has this incredible potential, and this is where we come into our most powerful creative ability, because it's not being informed by perceptions that are only feeding mechanisms that are automatic. Okay, it's also the difference between becoming this kind of automation human, which we are unfortunately now because we're deeply programmed, we're indoctrinated with programmed thoughts, and we are responding and reacting to patterns of information. So that's pretty much how a system, an operating system, a computer system operates. You send it signals and it just responds according to that calculated signal. The human expression, the organic expression, creates organically, not just by the information that's being sent, by the whole picture. And that's kind of the magic, the beauty, the magnificence of the human, of the expression of the human as infinite possibilities. So this is where we take our spiritual work and being a human to the next level. So when we work with the chakra system, that's the end result. This is where we want to reach. So I'm going to walk you through a little practice together here with me. I want you to grab a pen and a paper, and I'm going to wait for you to grab that. We'll just pause this for a second. And I'm going to take you through an exercise that we're going to get reacquainted with our chakra system. So I'll see you soon. Welcome back. So on this piece of paper that you have in front of you, I want you to create 3 columns and the numbers 1 at the bottom to 6 at the top on all of these 3 columns. And you're going to create at the very top the label. The first is going to be reactive state. That's the first column. The second column is balanced state. And the third column is reading state. So go ahead and go to your notebook, and I want you to close your eyes for just a moment, and we're going to check in with our chakras, and from a number of 1 to 100, I want you to identify what the state your chakra is. Go ahead and select, intuitively reading the state of your chakra. So you're going to put on the first chakra in the first column, go ahead and put the percentage that you think that chakra is operating at right now. The root is number 1. Fill that in. Okay, go ahead and put the number there with the percentage where you think it's operating at right now. So people can become very ill when they have their chakras out of alignment because the energy isn't flowing the way it should be in the body. And that's because a thought form that is limiting is causing a limiting expression in the body. So what we do is we bring ourselves into a balanced state, and we do that by allowing all the chakras to be in a perfect alignment through the body. And so this will manage that any information that's coming through as we work with it. This is not just a quick fix to fix all your problems. By opening and closing the chakras, you're not fixing anything. This is in combination with your inner work, with the dark, deep work of any kind of emotions and traumas that have not been resolved. This is in combination with that work, and this facilitates that work in a way to help the spirit experience the present moment in a more authentic way. And so each one of the chakras, oftentimes the chakras are wide open, and you can see on your scale of numbers that you just created which one of your chakras are wide open right now. It's the one that's the number is closest to 100. And so this is where you're seeing the world. This is where you're creating from. This is where you're attracting from. So if you have any kind of unresolved issues in those areas, and I want you to get really acquainted with the chakras by getting a nice chart that indicates, you can get this on my website. I have it up for sale on my website, a laminated full color, but you can also just print it out at home. So you can become aware of the areas that those chakras manage. And it's really incredibly profound to notice the connections that we have with our physical organs, any organs that are out or having difficulty functioning, and with our emotional states. The chakras that are out of balance are the ones that are running the show. So if, for example, if your solar plexus is wide open, maybe we have a lot of suppressed anger, or that's kind of our story. We're angry at the world, and it's like a subconscious program that expresses out as irritation, as stress, as frustration, as problems at work or with our partnership. So notice that this is where we begin to create from. And we have these ideas and programs of disempowerment, for example. So all of that I just mentioned are all possible blockages as a result of the solar plexus. So just notice on your chart that you just created, which one of those chakras is at the highest number. Okay, and so the idea is that now, by coming into awareness of our experience and as creative selves, we now are looking to apply our free will. We want to use our free will. And the only time that we're able to apply the free will is if we understand how we are being manipulated, or we become slaves to these different processes, even our own addictions to our own programs, pain, and suffering. Okay, so if you're in a program of pain and suffering, we are not applying our free will, because our life is based on that program. And as infinite consciousness, as yourself, as a fractal of infinite consciousness, you have the free will to experience that suffering all you want, even your entire life. Because we all are here to experience that wide range, that spectrum of experiences. So, in other words, there is no right or wrong to your experience. However, if you feel that you're tired of that suffering, and you no longer want to suffer, and you want to change from illness or from this depression or stagnant state into a state of health, vitality, and creation, this is how you would be able to do that. So it's just a matter of choosing what you're looking to experience. And so all of these lessons and courses are to assist you in understanding the function of this body, which is complex, and we don't really understand it until we sit in silence, to really sit with body and begin to understand how the emotions moved, things that triggered the effects that it caused in my body, the effects that it caused on other people's body. And you begin to understand that all of these processes have a function. And the function is experience. But the higher function is the free will of yourself as this fractal of infinite consciousness, with an opportunity to choose what you create and to understand that you are an incredible creative power. So today I'm here to show you how to come into that creative power. So let's go back to our list, and I want you to go into the balanced state. In the balanced state, we're going to start working with that. So I want you to close your eyes, and we're going to bring our body back into a balanced state. Okay, so we're going to start with the root chakra. Okay, you're going to go ahead and visualize just balancing that chakra. And you use your intuition to see what is best for you. I want you to bring, usually the chakras are about 2 inches wide when they're in a perfect balanced state, but they have, of course, it's not just that chakra. I mean, it's an entire layer of your body. Okay, so go ahead and visualize the root chakra. We're gonna just make sure that whether we're closing it or we're actually opening it, so for you it might be different, so just pay attention to your experience. Where does your chakra need to go in order for it to come into a balanced state? So feel the chakra and bring it into a balanced state. It's going to be open about the width of your body. Okay, about the width of your body, full expression, but you go open the chakra about 2 inches. Okay? Okay. Okay. Now you're going to go up to the sacral chakra. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to open that up into a balanced state. Balanced state, the sacral chakra. Depending on where you're at, you trust what you see in your body. Okay, go up to the solar plexus, bringing it into a balanced state. Go up to the heart chakra, opening it to a balanced state. Go up to the throat chakra, opening it into a balanced state. Going up into the third eye chakra, opening it into a balanced state. Okay, so just notice how your body feels right now as you are with your eyes closed, observing the chakras now that you have brought them into a balanced state. Just observing, that's all we're doing. We're not going to judge, we're not going to put meaning. Okay, so I want you to take your pen and paper now as you open your eyes, and I want you to jot down the numbers without even second thinking where your chakras are at now. From 1 to 100, go ahead and tap into your chakras and notice where each one are at. So go ahead and start with the first one, the root, the sacral, the solar, the heart, the throat. Don't second guess the very first number that comes up, and the third eye. Okay, very good. So now I want you to take a moment and we're going to go into what we call reading state. Now reading state is defined as the closing of the first 3 chakras and opening of the top 3 chakras. The first 3 chakras again are the connection to the physical plane. So we're going to start by closing them, and you're not stopping them, you're not canceling them, you're not disconnecting them. All that you're doing is you're controlling the information that's there. So that means you're going to just quiet down that first chakra. And what that allows us to do is to now have the ability to look at from all perspectives what's going on in that space. Because again, it's not just the chakra. This is an entire aspect of yourself, a layer of your expression. It's information that is in resonance with the vibrational frequency that's created from that chakra. So the root chakra, we're just going to quiet it down so that anything that, if it's running on these negative aspects or negative programs, or it's in a state of fear or anxieties or all these negative aspects of ourselves, we now have an opportunity to kind of silence it and begin to observe if we really want to continue those programs, or if maybe we can disconnect or change the way that we are functioning. Okay, so that's what this is for. Remembering to breathe. And again, the only time that we are doing this is when we're fully protected in our space. So as we are all beginning this exercise, we're going to ground our houses down to the center of the earth. We're going to protect our houses in a space of white light, okay? Sealing the space that we're in as we raise the vibrational frequency up to the highest vibrational color. We're going to fill our room, the space that we're working in, to the color gold. So the room that you're working in, we're changing to the color gold so that we can also create this very safe space for us to actually come into these very heightened states of vibration. So filling the space, very good. So now that your home is filled with the color gold and you're fully protected, your body is protected in your sphere of light, we will start. So go ahead and go to that root chakra, closing your eyes, taking a nice deep breath. Inhale deeply and exhale. Okay, beginning with the root chakra. Go ahead and visualize closing that chakra all the way down to the size of a dime. Okay, size of a dime or a little button or whatever feels real to you. I want you to use your intuition. This is your practice, your body. So it might be different for you. I want you to notice what you see, but close it completely until it's down to a smaller size than what it is now and what it was in the beginning. Okay. And I want you to just observe, no judging, observing what happens when you close that first chakra. Very good. So we're going to go up to the Sacral Chakra now, and we're going to do the same, just with your intention, feeling that chakra and closing it down to the size of a dime. And just observing what happens everywhere in your mind, in your body, the emotions, the energy. Notice what happens. Okay, you're going to go up to your solar plexus now. In the solar plexus, we're going to do the same, closing that chakra down to the size of a dime. Observing what happens. Noticing what feels different. You're going to go up to your heart chakra and you're going to open that heart chakra as wide as possible, opening the center of unconditional love. Open that heart chakra. Front and back, you have a back. Going up to the throat chakra, you're going to expand that chakra open again. Imagine turning on a blue light in the center of your throat as wide as possible, front and back of your body. A lot of us have a lot of blockages in these higher chakras, and that's why we have a hard time connecting with our higher self. So as you tap into the information that's there, notice what side of your chakra feels more stuck. Where does it feel difficult to imagine that you're opening your space? Because that's where you have blockages. That's where you have attachments. That's where you have all kinds of stuff that needs to be healed from the body. Go up to your third eye, and you're going to open that chakra as wide as possible, opening a center for intuition. Very good. So now that you are opening this center for intuition, I want you to observe, again in a state of observation now, root, sacral, solar, heart, throat, and third eye. What has changed? Take a look at your body. Feel the body. See what you feel. Notice the sensations. How have they changed? Okay. So some of you will really feel a huge change because we have silenced a lot of these systems that are noisy, that are running out of order, out of balance. Okay? You will feel a deeper calmness, a deeper stillness in the body. This is how you know that this work is important for this body, for this experience. This is how we begin to master this incredible technology, this biotechnology of the physical body. So I want you to open your eyes back up, and I know it feels so good you want to just stay there, but with your eyes open, I want you to go into your third column and jot down what level do you see your chakras at now. Go ahead and jot them down from 1 to 100. What number do you see them operating at this moment? See that now. First, second, third, fourth, fifth, and sixth. It should be pretty quick. All right, my loves. You guys did such an amazing job. So I want you to just look at your numbers. Look at your numbers on your charts. And I want you to notice the variations of where your chakras are at. It's very interesting to look at that. When you actually have it in front of you, you begin to really understand how these systems, how the intuition of the body picks up on these systems. So I want to congratulate you on really acquainting yourself with your multidimensional body. So the numbers that are highest are the ones that are running the show. Okay, they're the ones that are now projecting into your environment. This is where we're seeing the world from. And I will create another video on perceptions of reality at a later time. That will go great in continuation with this video. But for now, I want you to notice where you're at, and I want you to notice how incredibly powerful the shift was from your body when you began this exercise to now, where you truly feel more calm. And so this calmness that you've now created in your body is the environment for true intuitive information to come in through the body. So we can allow the source energy run through us without any blockages, without any change, because we're in control of this body. So this is where we create healing. The body comes into an incredible balance where it has now this ability to breathe for the first time instead of getting choked up with programs it's unnecessary, to really see what is true for you, true for you. Where is your free will? Where can you apply that free will? Where were you not applying that free will? Maybe there were areas that you thought you were, but you now can see a different perspective. And so this is all a part of the human experience that we're here to gain. So never go outside in public or just running around with your chakras closed. And the reason why is because right now you look like a lighthouse. You've closed your first 3 chakras, you've opened your top 3 chakras, so your vibration has shifted. You have shifted your vibration into a higher state. This is what it's called, to embody a higher vibrational state. We want to train our bodies to come into this state naturally and at all times, but it's a process. It doesn't happen from one day to the next. It's something that we have to clear and heal and compassionately move the body into that state so that it becomes aware and familiar with a state of neutrality, state of peace, state of unconditional love, which is something that is quite foreign to most. That is the state of complete awareness that we want to embody. Okay, so now that you have your chakras open, you are now entering into a state of intuition. Most natural born psychics usually have their chakras already quite open, these upper chakras quite open, because they're very much in tune and connected to the universe. And most empathic people also have them quite open. The problem is that they also have the other chakras open. So we are not aware of creating healthy boundaries with the information that we bring in, and we end up being sponges to everything that we're experiencing. And that can cause a tremendous imbalance for us. And it's usually why a lot of people start utilizing drugs and coping mechanisms to escape from the overwhelm of incredible information and messages that are coming into the body that are difficult to manage. And in our society, we're not prepared to understand. We're not taught any of this information. So we a lot of times carry an entire lifetime of suffering. And suffering is basically a disconnect from the higher self. That's what suffering is. It's, you're choosing to have this kind of negative experience without understanding that you have the free will to choose something else. We are infinite possibilities. You have the ability to experience this entire spectrum. So what causes life, creation, natural expression of evolution is things that are in balance, and that's just the natural laws of this universe. They're the regenerative laws of creation. So we want to learn that and use it to the advantage of this little organism that won't go into suffering, won't go into pain, illness, sickness, and then ultimately death. Because when we're not in a path of creation, optimal health, we're in a path of destruction. So this is where we can choose. Very good. So now that you understand these chakras, I want you to go ahead and reopen your chakras. So you're going to go to your root. You're going to open it back into a balanced state. Breathing deeply. Okay, once again, noticing the information that's there. You're going to go up to your second chakra, opening it back into a balanced state. You're going to go up to your third chakra, opening it back into a balanced state. Going up to your third, and what we want to ultimately be, and this is how we begin to train the body, is that now we're not going to close these top 3 chakras all the way. We're just going to gently, a little bit, close it just a tad, so that they are slightly more open than the root chakras at all times, because we want to allow fluid energy of intuitive connection to the source. This is how we help the spirit move through this temporary human experience in a more compassionate manner, healthy, vitality, creative state. So the heart chakra now is not going to be wide open, and it's not going to be consciously open. You are aware of what it's doing and why it's doing that, so that you're creating from a place of true awareness and authenticity. In your throat, you're opening it up. In your third eye, you're opening it up. Okay, so you look more like this now. Okay, balanced state, reading state. Okay, out of balance state. Okay, so this is what we want to create in the body. So now notice how you feel, more balanced, more clarity in your mind, more clear thinking. And so this is my invitation to you to embody a state of balance, and at all times, and only in meditation, only for practice, closing that and activating the intuition. Please, once again, just to reiterate, closing the chakras is only for your protected, secured healing state and meditation, daily meditation. Okay, this is a practice, and anytime that you want to come into a state of clarity and intuition, you can close your chakras, always knowing that you are protected, always making sure that you are protected. I want to thank you so much for joining me today, and I hope this chakra. I hope that this video helps you understand why we create this practice and how to do it. And I hope that this little exercise helped you realize really the incredible influence of the chakras in your creative ability in your everyday experiences. So play around with that, get acquainted with it, and share it with your friends so that they also learn how to work with this incredible biotechnology. All my love, and I'll see you soon.